Chick Chatters. We are back for a very special New Year's story of the week. As you can see, we are all New Year's out, and it is a guys' night again. We have Dean here.
Hello.
And Tyler.
Hello.
Back again. Thanks, guys.
So unlike most of our holiday specials, this is just going to be a 2-story special because, well, we just had our Christmas special, so we don't really want to overload you guys. We're going to do a couple Am I the Asshole stories because those are Brooke's favorites. This New Year's, we're kicking it off with Am I the Asshole for kicking my friend's boyfriend out of my house after my friends planned a New Year's gathering that I cannot attend. So this is from about a year ago, and it says, all right, so maybe I'm overreacting, but honestly, I've kind of reached a breaking point. I, male 21, am disabled, full-time wheelchair user, and I live in a fairly small college town with a couple friends. My roommates and I are part of a larger friend group of 8 people, and I'd say that we're all pretty close. I really love my roommates, they're great, but sometimes a little thick. There's one person in the large friend group, let's call him Chris, who is dating a guy, and let's call him James. I really don't like James for many reasons, mostly petty ones, to be honest. But another fact is James is a vegetarian. That's not a problem in itself, but herein comes the issue. All of us planned on getting dinner on New Year's Eve. Smallish college town, there are 3 main restaurants to choose from that are open in the nearby area. One of them is a steakhouse, one of them is a Thai place, and one of them is sort of a hippie plant-based place. James immediately suggests the plant-based one. I give a veto, as it's completely inaccessible, and give the alternative of ordering takeout from there, but bringing it back to my place. But we recently started fostering a cat, and one of our friends is allergic to cats, so that was a no-go. None of the other friends are able to host a gathering for various reasons, so I suggest we go to the Thai place. It's a nice spot and reasonably accessible, but apparently James and Chris went to the Thai place last week for their anniversary and don't want to go back. I then suggest the steakhouse, but of course that is loudly shut down because James is vegetarian. Long story short, the group did a vote between the hippie place and the Thai place, not even including the steakhouse. The plant-based place won. I admitted that I was slightly frustrated to my roommates who said that they can bring food back after. I said that that wasn't the issue, but sure. So New Year's comes and they get back from dinner and James and Chris also stop by. At this point, it's pretty late. I'm a couple drinks in and I flat out tell James that I think it's shitty that he suggested and then subsequently campaigned for a place that he knows I can't go to. He said that it's fair because I suggested the steakhouse knowing that he's a vegetarian. I told him that it's different because he could have at least been physically present. He insisted that it's the same, and I asked him to leave the apartment because I was tired of dealing with his bullshit. So he left, and my roommates think I overreacted. Maybe I did. What do you think?
He's a vegetarian. That's a fair, good enough reason to kick him out the apartment. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
We can start there for sure. I do think that dude made a good point that the vegetarian could have at least been physically present at the steakhouse. And I know that vegetarians don't like to eat, sides of carrots. And I'm sure there wouldn't have been a lot of options, but like you can eat a salad from a steakhouse and be present. So
Yeah.
I disagree with what everyone did. I don't think that it was fair considering that they have a friend who needs to have accessible, locations to go to. I don't think leaving your friend behind is very nice. Was it an emotional overreaction to kick him out? Maybe. You have a bedroom. You could have maybe gone to the bedroom, but I also don't blame him.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him for kicking him out. That's his apartment. I've kicked some people out of some of my apartments.
Dude's in a wheelchair, and everybody left him to be alone on Christmas Eve to drink alone.
I think that's mean.
Did the vegetarian guy say it's the same?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah, that
Not
guy.
the same. You can eat a salad. I can't get in the door.
Being a vegetarian is a choice. Being in a wheelchair is not. That's it.
And the thing is they were talking about accessibility. And there is accessibility for a vegetarian at a steakhouse. You can eat some lettuce. You can eat some sides, whatever. I know it's not your favorite. It doesn't cater to you.
What if he has to see a steak?
Oh,
What if it's one of those places where they slaughter the cow right in front of
Oh
you
my
and
God.
then
What
butcher it
place
and
is
cook it?
that?
There isn't one. There's an audience for that, not probably
Yeah, like a
us,
true
but
farm
yeah,
to table
like,
concept.
yeah.
What, who has the audacity to say that those two things are the same? Being
They're
able
not.
to physically be present. I don't think his problem was that he didn't want to eat at the plant-based thing. It's just that he couldn't sit anywhere. Like, no, there was nowhere for him to go.
I also feel like even if there's like a couple of stairs, if you have a couple of guy friends, like they can lift you up stairs in your chair. I've seen
Now,
that
what
happen.
happens if they start drinking and you got to go?
That's a risk everyone's gonna take. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best choice, Dean. I'm just saying it's a choice.
Would you trust your drunk friends to take you down some stairs while you sitting in a wheelchair?
Wheelchair or not, we've all trusted our drunk friends to take us somewhere at some point.
You remember us riding the stairs at the wedding? We were riding on a wheelchair stair thing.
I remember.
Insert video.
What are you doing?
The thing that gets me though is, okay, so they couldn't go back to this guy's apartment because he's got a cat. But then didn't everybody come back to the apartment after dinner anyway to rub it in his face that they all had dinner together?
I think that was someone else's apartment, wasn't it?
No, because he kicked him out of his own apartment.
But everybody else's
They didn't.
apartment, they couldn't house it. He couldn't house it because they had a cat. So it's like the cat ruined it all. So they got to get rid of the cat. It's the cat's fault.
I just feel like there had to have been another option for them all to eat together.
I agree. And that's why I think that these are not good friends. And maybe that emotions were justifiable because I'm sure this wasn't the first time this has happened, that they've all outvoted him to go somewhere that's inaccessible. It sounds like your friends are not, one, even tolerant, and two, they're not even accommodating to.
Wait, hold on. Does he count as a full vote?
Oh, shut up. He's the full person. He's just sitting down.
It should count as 2 votes.
To be honest, he also was okay with the Thai place. So why didn't they all just compromise on the Thai place? I get that these people celebrated their anniversary or whatever, but if there's literally only 3 restaurants around,
I was gonna say, yeah, like there's 3 restaurants. Like this has to come up like every other week at least.
I'm sure that they've been
Yeah.
to that Thai restaurant once a month.
There's now 2 viable options. There's the Thai place and the steak restaurant that this person can be present and everyone else can make alternative decisions and at least be there with their friends. And those friends still chose not to do that.
That's 8 people. That's still only like 1 vote. So I don't know how that 1 vote like immediately eliminated that place between the vegan and the handicapped guy who can't even go to the one place.
I'm telling you, I think he should have 2 votes. 1 vote for what he prefers for food and another vote for if it's accessible or not. He gets 2 votes.
Why didn't Chris and James just go back to the Thai place and just order something different? You don't gotta get the same thing. Maybe try something new out. I don't know, but
You're like, I don't know, eat a sandwich at home beforehand and just go there to have drinks with your, like, make it work. Maybe they have a big enough menu that you buy something else. Like, holy cow.
I feel like these guys could have even went to a damn bowling alley and got a pizza or something.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They could have all been together at their house and just got takeout.
But apparently they all went back to their apartment anyway.
Yeah, so that's weird to me, unless some of the friends didn't go back. But I think it's also rude to be like, okay, well, we'll bring you home a plate. And he was like, well, I mean, that's not the point, but I guess. Why would you even be like, oh, I'm going to bring you home takeout from the plant-based restaurant, which honestly, I don't know how good plant-based food is after it's been cooked and done. Like, can you really eat it the next day? I don't know. Vegetarians help me out. But I just don't feel like that would be the thing that I'd want somebody to bring me back. And also, oh, thanks for this reminder of the dinner I didn't get to go to, but I'm glad I got the scraps.
It's mean.
And then, of course, he's a couple drinks in because he's been alone waiting for everybody. Like, how sad. And on New Year's. And then they come home. And, of course, they're probably all talking about the restaurant. Some of them might even be a little bit tired by now because they all went out.
I wouldn't want to look at my friend's boyfriend either. That damn vegetarian ruined the whole thing.
It started off with saying, like, oh, I don't like him anyways for some petty reasons, probably, which I appreciate that. I like a little bit of honesty right out the gate. We already know you don't like James. So top comment is, not the asshole. This isn't the same. They could put up with eating at the same restaurant twice in 7 days. You cannot change whether a restaurant is accessible.
Facts. Facts.
Do a petition. You can force that restaurant to make it wheelchair accessible.
So are we all voting not the asshole?
I don't think he's the asshole.
Oh, 10 for 10, not the asshole.
Mm-mm.
I don't know when this was exactly, but it's 2023. Like there are
A year
usually
ago.
vegetarian options at a steakhouse.
There is. There's salads. There's side options. You can get mashed taters. I mean, it's not like they're vegan. They can eat a lot more than a vegan could.
I go
Mhm.
get a burger from Red Lobster.
They probably even got a plant-based burger there.
That's what
Yeah,
I
they
mean.
got
There's
the burger.
usually options now for those
Mhm.
types of things.
So someone said, info, when you say the plant-based restaurant was inaccessible, do you mean wheelchair accessible, as in you're not physically able to go into the restaurant? If that is the case, your friends are major assholes here. Why would they pick a restaurant that you physically cannot go to? Being vegetarian, by the most part, is a choice. Being in a wheelchair isn't. It's not rocket science. OP said in response, it's a little spot that's a small flight of stairs with no ramp. So yeah, I've never been inside, obviously, but I can't imagine that the inside is very easy to navigate either.
Probably really small and close
Okay.
together.
No, see, I was thinking your friends could help you with 2 or 3 stairs.
I'm not
but
trusting my drunk friends to carry me down a flight of stairs in a wheelchair.
not.
Because if I hit the ground, I can't get up to.
You can't do nothing. You're just
No.
And put 2 on each side. If he's like a quad and he still can kind of support his arms, it might be all right.
Over here planning.
A whole flight of stairs.
a nurse.
Someone responded to that comment that OP said about not being able to navigate the restaurant. And they said, how is the steakhouse reasonably accessible? I feel like accessibility is a binary. Either it is accessible or it isn't, right? In that regard, do the accessibility options vary between the two locations? And then OP went in. OP said yes and no. So I've been to the steakhouse before. It's a nice place and the staff are very friendly, but the entrance is quite tight. And so is the distance between the tables. The last time I visited, I was with family and they had to move a couple chairs out of the way so I could get through. Obviously not the end of the world and a pretty minor thing, but I still have a slight preference to a restaurant where I could go in without worrying about it. Also, table height. It's a bit frustrating when restaurants have high booths, as I'm more comfortable personally staying in my chair. But for me, that's also negotiable. And bathrooms. So many places have bathrooms that are technically legally accessible, but functionally for me, they're not. And they're too small or blocked by something. It's also a bonus when restaurants have automatic doors, but that's pretty rare around here. And again, for me, I can navigate doors pretty well, but others may have more difficulty. So yeah, some restaurants I could go in without any accommodation. I consider that highly successful. But for something where they have to move things, I can't use the bathroom or I'd have to leave my chair to sit, I'd consider that less accessible, but obviously still doable. I fully understand that most of it is pretty minor, but it also does make a difference in my experience. I typically don't expect restaurants to be fully accessible for me, but it's always nice plus when they are. Now I'm kind of thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that's really sad for people who are in wheelchairs. Like I never really think about it, but even when it says it's accessible, a lot of times it's still not accessible.
A lot of places aren't. Like, I worked in home health care for 3 or 4 years. I was with this guy. We'll call him John, Mr. Smith. He's a quadriplegic. He was in a car accident. He's pretty much been a quadriplegic most half his life. And it sucks. Like getting around, everything. Like we went to a hockey game one time and it was a lot of fun, but yeah, it's just a lot of places it's you don't really think about it a lot.
It's like you said, places are legally accessible, but then in reality, you have to like move things out of the way. You don't think about that because, like, obviously we can all walk. Never really thought about it like that before, but it kind of low key makes me feel bad. The shame on his friends, man. They're with this guy all the time and they see his struggle and they don't feel bad for picking like a different restaurant. Come on, y'all. Or go to a different town.
Like if you're friends with somebody who needs higher accessibility, who's disabled, it's so important not to just be tolerant of the fact that they're disabled, but to be accommodating and to be helpful and to be a voice for them, right? Like if my friend was coming to a bar with me and we needed some tables and chairs moved around, they shouldn't have to be the one to have to speak for themselves all the time. Like you should have some friends that come in here like, hey, somebody move these chairs. My friend's coming. That's just what you would do for anybody. Like that's what I think for friends. So I
Should
just
be an automatic response.
yeah. You stick up for your friends, you stand up for them, you take up for them, and I don't think that those friends were even being in the realm of considerate.
I'm so mad at these friends. A different comment says most places do, but asking to be sure. Does the steakhouse you suggested offer vegetarian options, even if it's not their main focus? And OP said no main entrees, unfortunately, but a lot of the sides and appetizers are vegetarian. They have some stuffed mushrooms that are good, mashed potatoes, etc. I do get why a vegetarian wouldn't want to go to a steakhouse, though.
This person is considerate, and John or Joe or whatever we're calling the vegetarian is not.
Because he's right. I mean, you could get some appetizers and fill up on drinks. You're there for New Year's. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many other things you could do. Like you said, they could eat before and then join them at the steakhouse. There's also a whole other restaurant, the Thai restaurant. I get that y'all just went there, but go again. We've been to In-N-Out like 5 times this week or something. Like,
Right. Thai restaurant, like you can get just about any protein Thai. Like, come on.
Whole menu just to select.
Yeah, I promise you that I've never seen a Thai restaurant in my life that only has 1 or 2 options. It's always like 7 pages.
Right, and they have a lot of vegetarian options, and that's why those people went there for their anniversary. Somebody did ask about the cat. They said, getting a cat makes your place inaccessible to your allergic friend, just like the restaurant is inaccessible to you. Where your friends choose food over your presence, you choose fostering a cat over your allergic friend's presence. Therefore, you have no higher ground, and you're the asshole for acting like you do. This person got negative 135 like downvotes.
Oh my god.
He has a pet cat.
That is a cat person if I ever met one.
The OP responded with, it's not my cat. My roommate is responsible for the cat. I still regularly hang out with the friend who is allergic to cats. So it seems like it's the roommate's cat. And it sounds like they're fostering the cat. It's not even their actual cat.
Tyler and I are allergic to cats. All of your close friends, at least, have cats. We go in their houses. We've had meals there. Sometimes my eyes get a little itchy. I mean, I guess the allergies do, like, vary. Of course, you don't want to go into, like, anaphylaxis or anything. But I think a lot of people who are allergic to cats can tolerate, like, a party at somebody's house. As long as you don't touch the cat. My grandma's allergic to dogs. She's always around my dog. She just doesn't touch my dog.
So you also take a pill for that, or isn't there like a medicine that you can take to
I don't
help?
think there's like a over the counter, but I don't know.
You can take like antihistamines, of course. But
Yeah,
like,
you
that
could
won't really, it's not going to cure your allergies. It'll
but
just
it
help your
could
symptoms.
it could help you if you want to go to a party and you have really bad cat allergies.
I'm wondering, I know that like obviously animals leave dandruff everywhere, so it's not like ideal anyways to be around where a cat lives. But like, could they also just kind of put the cat in one room for the duration of that?
No,
friend?
because it's all over the house. Probably the dander that they're allergic to, most likely, and that's going to be all over the house.
But the audacity of someone to say that this person having a cat is giving the person with the allergy like the same obstacle. Like, what? No, this isn't the same.
This is mobility versus an animal.
And this guy with the disability has been dealing with this, I'm sure, his whole life. People have been leaving him out, and however long he's been like this.
Making strange comparisons. Look at these 2 strange ass comparisons about vegetarianism and allergies. Like, this is not that.
No, an allergy, you can just stay away from what makes you allergic and you're fine. And the same thing with the steakhouse. You can choose to not be a vegetarian if you don't want to, and you could eat somewhere else. Or you could find other items on the menu that you can't.
French fries, salad, mashed potatoes, pasta, vegetable. Those are 5 options right there.
Listen, dude was a vegetarian. That was a problem from the get.
That was Dean's problem.
Dean was right.
I don't have anything about vegetarians, but he really has it out for vegetarians.
Dean heard the first paragraph and knew who the asshole was.
Now hear me out. There are some vegetarians who think they're all high and mighty. They go out like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, and then they control the whole room based off of their beliefs and what they eat. I should not feel like I can't have a steak around you because you don't like it. No, let me get the T-bone. I want 2 sirloin steaks, medium rare on this plate right now. And I'm gonna eat it in front of you while you have a salad or whatever you eat.
And I get why people make that choice. I mean, that's fine. I don't dog anybody for making the choice to be vegetarian or anything. Like, that's great. But when I'm at the restaurant, that steak's already in the fridge. It's already dead. I can eat it.
Listen, I'm not gonna be offended by your salad, so don't be offended by my steak.
What if us meat eaters actually acted like vegetarians?
I feel like most of the time when there's a like, am I the asshole? Probably like 80% of the time, it's usually not the OP that's the asshole. It's like whoever they're posting about. That's the case for right now.
Like you said, this is just not your group of friends. You need to find some friends that are actually considerate. Y'all took a selfie right now? Man is in a crisis, Brooke. I just hope that this guy jumped all of his friends and found people who are actually good friends, because
I mean, it's kind of hard to do when they're roommates too.
I mean, yeah.
that's
He was in a
a
college town though, so I mean, a lot of people.
I get that they think he overreacted. He's a couple drinks in and feeling feisty at James, but James had the audacity to say that then the damn two things were the same, and James was wrong about that. What James should have done if he really felt away was got himself a little takeout from the plant-based place and then went to the steakhouse and ate his plant-based there. Because no one's going to tell you no.
I think we have a verdict. Case closed.
Okay.
Not the asshole. Find new friends. Find new friends. Or find new.
We will catch y'all in part 2 of our 2-part holiday special. Make it wheelchair accessible, any accessible for y'all. Part 2. Hello there, Chick Chatters. We are back for part 2 of our 2-part story.
Forgot to cheers you guys last time. Happy New Year, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers and cheers.
Happy New Year.
So we're back with another Am I the Asshole for our part 2. This is from 2 days ago, and it's titled, Am I the Asshole for last minute declining to go to a friend's wedding that is dry on New Year's Eve?
No. All I heard was dry and New Year's and wedding and
The story goes, my buddy, 33 male, is getting married to a girl that our friend group is not in love with. He loves her though, so we support him. We have known for months that this is the New Year's Eve wedding. I RSVP'd yes months ago with my wife. Several friends and I operated under the assumption that there would be booze at the wedding, especially considering it's on New Year's Eve. Well, I found out yesterday that it's a dry wedding. Turns out that it's because of his fiance and her family. I asked my wife if she knew this, and she said no and was pissed. I texted the groom buddy. So he texted the groom and asked, and he confirmed it. And I told him that this is something he should have told us a long time ago. I told him that my wife and I wouldn't be going. We want to spend the night drinking. I texted the rest of my friends about this, and oh boy, the group chat went off. This led to several more people backing out. This is not how a bunch of us expected to spend New Year's Eve. Really, the only ones that didn't back out were 4 members of our 12-person group that are in the wedding.
In the wedding?
so that's 75% backed out.
Wait, in the wedding, like their wedding party. The only
Oh,
people that
that-
didn't back out are the people who
that
are in the wedding.
okay.
Groom buddy reached out to me and went off. Pretty much, he is now overspending on catering and is having 20-ish less guests show up than planned, and this is all last minute. I've been called an asshole among many other things for leading the charge in people who are not going to the wedding. Am I the asshole?
Or
Leading the charge.
Okay.
And that's in quotes too. Leading the charge.
It should have been in big bold letters, but go ahead, Dean. Sorry.
Unintentionally, he is the asshole because he brought the bad news to everybody else, which he unintentionally influenced others when he was like, there's no booze at this party.
He
I'm
was
not
the
going.
bearer of bad news.
He brought it to the table. Everybody ate it and was like, nope, I'm not doing this. Now, if he would have kept it low key and backed out, like, yeah, I'm not feeling well, but then you know what? Yeah, but he was unintentionally the asshole. But the true asshole of the story is the groom, who failed to mention that, because whenever you get invited to a wedding, one of the top 3 questions is, when's the date? Is there booze? What are the colors?
Okay, so I think the real asshole is bride's family, because they're the ones that said it has to be dry.
I don't think
Now,
they
if you-
said. I think that it
That's-
was
that's-
to
that's
accommodate.
what it read.
No, it was to accommodate them.
The asshole is then whoever wanted the wedding to be dry.
It's not like a crime to have a dry wedding.
For New
My
Year, though?
I understand.
Like a couple people don't want to drink, then just don't drink yourself, but don't ruin everyone else's New Year's Eve.
I planned a wedding. I wanted to make sure people could drink. However, if that's like the bride's thing, she doesn't want people drinking at her wedding or whatever the case is, it's her day. So, as crappy as it is, that is what it is. But to me, I think this person is the asshole only because he influenced all these other people backing out. And like they said, they paid all
Did
this
they
money.
know it was going to be
You understand how much money goes into catering? It's like $60 a head. So this person could be losing like $500 in catering alone. I do think that the groom messed up in not telling people out the get that this was a dry wedding. And that's the biggest part.
That's his mistakes that comes out of his pocket. His friend did not choose the dry wedding. His friend had nothing to do with the catering. None of that. This is the groom and his bride's fault for not putting in bold letters on the invitation, this is a dry wedding. And if you did not inform people of that, especially on a holiday that's known for drinking, that is your fault for coming out of that money for catering. It just is. It's not the friend. What's going to happen when they all show up that day and they realize it's a dry wedding and they leave, I don't know, before dinner, like directly after dinner? Then you're just paying for people's dinners outright. At least you have, I don't know, a week. Maybe you could try to come up with something with the caterer. Like, no, I know it doesn't work like that, but the damage is already done when it comes to the catering piece, and it's not the friend's fault. Everybody should have known and made an informed decision about this wedding.
Yeah.
I would not be pinning no catering costs on that friend, regardless of what they said, because you are the one who had the dry wedding, who decided what was going on. If you did not tell people you're having a dry damn wedding and they back out, you should have been telling people that.
I'm not one for the dry wedding, but I have to play devil's advocate a little bit and be like, couldn't y'all have went to the wedding and ate the food and stuff and then left a little bit early and gone to a bar and had some drinks?
Same as that.
At least they showed up.
Okay, but like,
I mean, if it's a dry wedding, they're not staying there to drink afterwards. So have dinner and then.
What else are you gonna do?
I think it's the principle. For New Year, one, it's New Year's. Two, it's a wedding. You want to enjoy yourself.
That's like two strike. Like they should have a champagne fountain.
I understand if like the bar was expensive, maybe just do like a cash bar or something. So this way, you know, people can just buy their own drinks or whatever if you don't want to pay for it.
A lot of times they don't even let you have dry weddings at venues. They're like, no, we're taking that money.
Yeah, like, oh, there's a bar here and you're gonna pay for it either way.
I think that they should have been upfront on the invitation that the wedding was going to be a dry wedding.
Right on the top.
That's
Introducing our dry New Year's Eve wedding. Like Dean said, he was like the top 3 things you ask about. I don't even ask if there's alcohol. That is a given. Honestly,
it's always an open bar nowadays. Like that's how ours is gonna be.
Like I get what you're saying. Like those are definitely the top 3 concerns. There should be alcohol at a wedding, and if there's not, it should be indicated. It's a given. Like a restroom, like a roof, like dinner.
A music room,
a bride and a groom, and beer.
A cake, wedding.
With that, these people messed up by not informing the wedding. I guess to me, though, I'd probably just bring in my own flask and be sipping on that for a while and then leave a little bit early.
But you don't.
And then go to whatever I want to do. But
I see what you mean, Anna. I could see they could have showed up to their friend's wedding at 8 and left.
I would feel horrible RSVPing to a wedding, knowing that people paid for me to be there. I just went through this. So I would feel horrible to have those people then be out that much money because I was like telling people like, oh, there's no alcohol at this wedding. Although I do think it's messed up that this is the first time the friends are hearing about it. I kind of think everybody's there.
They heard it through the grapevine and it was like, hey, bro, is there alcohol this way? No, it's dry. Okay, appreciate it. Click. Hey, y'all, ain't no alcohol gonna be there. What?
I'm gonna just say it right now. I think that that's a good friend.
You probably saved 20 people's nights.
He's a bad friend to his groom friend, but that's a good friend to the rest of the friends.
To the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah.
If he would have done that and never told his friends why he left, and then was like, yeah, I left because it was dry. Well, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah, but it would be a fun joke like that. Like, yeah, I knew, haha.
Actually, that would be hilarious.
That would make that one friend that didn't go because it was dry look even worse. Now, when everybody didn't go, it's, hey, now I don't look as bad. Everybody else looks like a terrible person too.
Because if I'm standing there, you know, having my diet Dr. Pepper or whatever, and then some dude comes up and says, "Hey man, did you know this wedding was dry?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I knew." I'd be like, "Why the didn't you tell me? I wouldn't be here."
They could have warned their friend. Maybe just bring your own booze in a flask to get you through like a couple hours, and then like go do your own thing. I don't know, but I just
That's
feel
my thing. Like, if you're planning a wedding, it's on you to make sure that your guests know everything they need to know about being in attendance, whether that's where to get a hotel, how to get directions there, where to park, what they're going to be, you know, it's on you. It's on them to plan the party and inform their guests appropriately.
I
Period.
do wonder though, like, why plan a New Year's wedding if you're not gonna have booze? Like, why do it on New Year's?
I just don't get it either. Well, I don't think I'd want to get married on New Year's.
It's one of the most popular days to get married. I used to work at a
Wow.
wedding venue, and I used to serve weddings, and every single New Year's that
You know what? When I worked at the country club, there was a wedding, 2 weddings, I think, on New Year's, and I only worked there 3 years, so I think you're right.
So the top comment with 32,000 upvotes says, "I love drinking and hate dry wedding as much as the next guy, but you can show up to the wedding ceremony, spend an hour or two at the reception, and then go get blackout drunk if that's an absolute must for you. Backing out last minute and letting your friend know that he's not worth 2 hours of sobriety means you're the asshole by miles and miles."
I can see that.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
can see
That's fair.
That's kind of what I was getting at, but y'all were attacking me.
I still disagree personally, but I
Yeah.
can see it.
When you put it like 2 hours, that's fine, but like don't expect me to go to like a whole like 6-hour
Yeah,
wedding.
stay till midnight.
Don't make it the whole night.
Don't expect me to ring in the new year with you, but I will be there until about 8.
And I mean, they probably got married. They didn't get married at midnight. You know, it was probably, you know, a time when people usually get married, you know, 3, 4 o'clock. They have dinner, and then you start drinking because we're old. Sounds perfectly reasonable. When you
Now
put
it's
it that
dry
way.
wedding, you're not going to start drinking.
Well, you start drinking when you leave at like 9 o'clock.
I'm taking a sip from the flask before I leave.
Before you get there, before you leave, in the bathroom.
The whole damn
As
time.
I'm sitting down waiting,
I sound like an alcoholic. I don't even drink that much, but I just would not want to go to a dry wedding, period, nor would I want to go to one on New Year's. And if my friend didn't tell me that it was a dry wedding, we would have some words exchanged. I do think I would show up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
why
2
everyone's
hours.
the asshole, though, is because I think that these people could have at least shown
Everyone
up
is the asshole. I forget that's an option.
The people who threw the wedding are an asshole for not being upfront about their intentions with this wedding.
Totally
So-
forgot that was an option. Love that for us.
One of the commenters said, "Is it known among the friend group that the bride doesn't drink? I asked because everyone knows I can't deal with more than 2 sips of anything alcoholic, but we didn't say a dry wedding because my family and friends knew that I don't drink." And the OP said, "We've never seen the bride drink. The groom drank with us last month, but has slowly curbed that behavior in the last year since the engagement. The bride and her family are religious, and that's the impetus for the dry wedding." Okay, how many prayers were said at my wedding? We're religious, but we drank.
It's a lot of prayers.
great.
I'll be there to tell you.
Is she a Muslim?
I don't know. I'm guessing
They can still be in a bar though. Like
No, they can't.
they can though.
No, they
Modern
can't.
Muslims are in bars. As long as there is food around, they can justify it, especially at a wedding, especially like things like that. There's still alcohol in most wedding venues anyway.
Another commenter said, "Why don't you like your friend's fiance, and why is it a dry wedding? Is there a history of alcoholism?" And OP responded with, "She is someone that puts her morals on us, and we don't always align. She and her family are religious, and that's the reason for the dry wedding, apparently."
Whatever. I'm not going to argue with them. It's their wedding. If they want to have a dry wedding on New Year's Eve, that's totally up to them. But again, it's on you to inform your friends and your guests of what to expect when it comes
If
to
they
your
were
wedding.
having a dry wedding due to religion, then they should probably know that.
And I also don't
beforehand.
think like just because you know that one of the bride or grooms or even both don't drink regularly, that doesn't mean that you should even assume that it's going to be a dry wedding at that point either.
You would still want to cater to people coming to the wedding.
That's what I mean.
Exactly.
Some people might not drink a lot, but then you might have some people who could drink the entire bar out in the next 3 towns. You want people to enjoy themselves. You don't want people to come there, eat your food, and then leave.
So I saw this other story on here. I don't know, maybe I was gonna read it, but I don't know if I can find it. Of this couple who, instead of feeding their guests, they ordered a Mickey and Minnie Mouse, I believe, to come to their wedding so they could dance with them and take photos with them, because that costed about the same amount as it would be to feed their guests. They didn't tell their guests ahead of time or anything. These guests came to the wedding and there was no food at the reception. It was just a photo op with Mickey and Minnie, and the bride was apparently obsessed with Disney World and the whole nine. And obviously she was voted like the asshole for this, but it just kind of like reminds me of that in a way. Like sometimes you really have to like accommodate for your guests and maybe put a limit on the drinks if you're afraid of people getting too crazy. Then kick people out if they're getting really, really crazy, or like, you know what I mean? Like there's just ways to keep your wedding tame and fun for everybody. But you also do have to be accommodating to your guests in some way.
Even if a couple people get overserved, like you're not at a bar. Like most people are gonna act like fully grown adults, and the people who get overserved hopefully are gonna be taken home by their spouses in soon due time. With the Disney wedding thing, like even if you don't have to be accommodating to your guests if you need to have Mickey and Minnie at your wedding reception, but what you do have to do is put on the invitation, no dinner will be served, reception will be photo opportunity. That's all you do, and people can make their own choices about your ridiculous choices.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
the
go to the
guests-
dry wedding on New Year's Eve.
The guests at that wedding were trying to get food out of a vending machine because they were hungry.
I wouldn't stay there. I mean, I cannot drink on an empty stomach either, so if there was alcohol served at the Disney wedding, I wouldn't be able to drink that alcohol.
Be there. They're going to be mid talking as I'm crinkling up a McDonald's McChicken wrapper.
Right, like we're ordering some Uber Eats, some DoorDash, some pizza. Something has got to come.
One of them
here to
giant
this
Subway
wedding.
party subs.
Yep.
And to think about that one, like the Mickey and Minnie one, you could have probably spent half of that price to have your aunt and uncle dress up in Mickey and Minnie outfits, and then you could have fed everybody. Did it really have to be Mickey and Minnie from Disney World? They're not real. Like those are people in a costume, and you're paying the amount of a whole catering service, like thousands of dollars.
And they probably came to that wedding too, like, I'm gonna get some food after this job, and then there's no food, and then they're pissed too.
They had their own little like private area too for Mickey and Minnie, so like the guests didn't even interact with Mickey and Minnie. It was just for the bride and groom.
I hate that wedding more than the dry New
This
Year's.
is a wedding for you, a moment, a photo opportunity for you. You could have saved some money, and just went to like she said, went to Disney, didn't bring anybody, and did something that had one witness.
A different comment asked like, "What time is the wedding?" And OP said 5:30 is the ceremony, and reception ends at 12:15 a.m.
Ends at 12:15.
Every reception ends at 12:15 a.m.
No, they end at 11.
Not if it's dry. New Year's Eve.
And at either 11:30 or 12, so that's normal. But like, yeah, if it's dry, don't expect the people to be there until 12.
What are you gonna do? Have a sparkling apple juice toast?
I'm not mad at the dry wedding. I'm just mad about them not informing the people about it, and I'm mad at them picking New Year's of all days to decide.
And how late it goes.
And I am mad at their friends. You're not wrong, Aunt. I'm mad at their friends. They shouldn't have done that to their friend. Not on short notice.
They shouldn't have had to do that.
I agree.
He shouldn't have had to tell his friends that it was going to be a dry wedding. They should have already known.
You know,
Yeah,
that
that's
should
true.
not have been dude's job. Like his friend. He was put in a rock and a hard place. He knew his friends didn't know it was a dry wedding because nobody's been
I
about
just
it.
said, like if someone comes up to me and like, you know, it's a dry wedding, and I was like, yeah, they'd be like.
That being said, he just said, "Hey, listen, it's a dry wedding, but afterwards, they got like four or five bars in town. We can go hit the bars afterward and we can just drink as needed." And
Yeah.
he could have suggested that instead of not mentioning.
Yeah, let's have a wedding at 5, dinner, stay sober till midnight, and then just pound shots from midnight to 2. Like we're 16 years old.
I would have been hitting town in my getup by like 8 o'clock. And if they didn't have food, I would have had some McDonald's with some Whataburger, some In-N-Out. I would have had an Uber to the front door on my way out.
You know what else you can get through Uber?
Alcohol. So someone asked, just to be clear, the invitation did not indicate that it was a dry wedding, and OP responded, no. It was never mentioned to any of us in the friend group, not in person, not on the invitation. It was assumed by us that there would be booze as our buddy drinks. I found out via a mutual friend that was also invited. Nothing directly told to us by the bride or groom.
I can have sympathy and empathy for your
It seems
for
like that
your
was a
bank
trap.
account.
They were
but
trying to trap everyone.
Yeah, that's a trap.
You're at my wedding. You have to be sober now.
join the
It's like,
sobriety train.
it's like, bro. I'm happy for you, but I'm still a train wreck here.
People just gonna sit there, be happy for the moment. I can't wait to get out this.
Exactly. Yeah.
As soon
If I'm
as
sitting at that
they
wedding-
turn around, I'm going to the bathroom and I'm walking out the back door.
Who cares if they're even come at this point? Like I get that you're, out that money for people that aren't gonna eat the food or whatever, but like I wouldn't want a bunch of haters at my wedding either that just found out that they're not allowed to drink.
Yeah.
So I would be like,
Like,
then go.
Exactly. Like if it's New Year's Eve and I go to a wedding and I'm expecting to start drinking and then
Oh,
they say
he's-
there's no alcohol, I'm just counting the seconds to when I can leave.
And this
Like-
guy, like, he's not quiet. He'd be sitting at the table, like, there's no alcohol. It'd be awful.
I thought there'd be alcohol here.
Can't believe we're not drinking on New Year's. Where's the bar?
So somebody also said, what is stopping you and your friends from going to a bar or another party after the first dances are done or the cake is cut?
Nothing.
Nothing.
OP said, nothing, but the reception is going on until midnight. And then someone said, so duck out
You
after the
gotta do that.
speeches.
You don't have to stay there the whole time. No.
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, you don't.
If I duck out after the speeches, I'm not coming back.
He doesn't have to come back.
That'd be fun,
Stay
Dean.
a while.
If there was a bar down the street and we ducked out after the speeches, we went and loaded ourselves up on some shots and came back at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's also an option.
They never even gave them a chance to have a choice in that matter. They weren't going to say anything. They probably
True.
let it slip that it was dry by accident.
I'll be real. If somebody were to trap me into a dry wedding, I would at some point be looking at my homies and being like, okay, there's a bar up the street. We're gonna just go there. We're gonna take some shots and we're gonna come back. And then we'll go back there in about another. My goal would be like, hey, listen, they lied to us, but we're gonna sneak out of this and we're gonna go get us a couple shots and come right back. Like we never even left. And then we'll go back and then we might stay there this time.
It might be
Somebody-
fun when we come back.
I bet you somebody had some alcohol probably in their car either way. Like I've been to weddings that aren't dry and people still bring, alcohol in their car just
Yeah.
because they're a bunch of alcoholics. There's a will, there's a way.
I think everybody is the asshole in the situation, to be honest.
I
That's
agree.
my
I've-
vote.
I think everyone's the asshole.
I love that
yeah.
option.
I love it, yeah.
It really relieves my soul.
Everyone-
I'm mad at everyone.
Everyone up at some point or another.
But I'm going to give a hot take. My thing is, you can have your religion, that's fine, but don't push it on me. Just the same thing with the vegetarians, right? As long as I can eat a steak across the table from you, then we can be cool because I'm not going to judge you for eating your salad. Well, I want the same kind of respect from people that have religious beliefs. Like, I'm not harming anybody by having a drink next to you.
To me, it's not about like the religious thing. It's the bride's wedding, so she can have whatever hell wedding she wants. If she wants a
She
damn
can.
dry wedding, she can.
If the bride said dry wedding, that's like, oh, fuck.
Well, I
Yeah.
hear you. You don't have to accommodate anybody, but
But
you
the
do
bride's-
have to inform people
Yes.
if you're not going to be accommodating to them.
Yes.
Like alcohol, like food, like normal things you expect at a wedding. You have to tell people this will
Yeah.
not be a normal wedding. This will be a photo opportunity, or this will be a dry wedding.
I get it's New Year's, but y'all can go celebrate the New Year's part of it somewhere else.
If I did show up to that wedding, which I do think, like personally, if I RSVP'd and I found out it was dry wedding, even on New Year's, I know
I'd be
Tyler
like,
would be pissing and moaning, and so would I. But we would go and we'd probably leave at 7 and get to
Yeah.
the bar by 8 with full
Exactly.
bellies and happy hearts that we saw our friends getting married, and then we'd get drunk.
let's say, I hope you have a great time.
I'd be like, I have to go. I need to have a drink. Love you guys, but it's also a holiday.
I gotta go feed my fish.
People got to be understanding of that. If I'm having a New Year's wedding and it's going to be dry, I'm going to be understanding that people are probably going to leave my wedding at 8 o'clock. Why they didn't tell anyone. They wanted to trap them. They wanted
They have a
everybody to
great
show
time.
up and be trapped.
You're not trapping me. I don't care if I have a hotel and this is a dry town. I'm going to the next one.
It's also rude for the groom to be like, why would you tell everybody that it's dry? That's no, hold on, pause. They should have been informed. It was wrong for the groom to make his friend look like a villain when
For telling
Yeah,
everybody.
we're
the truth.
leading the
Yeah.
charge. Could have saved $1,000 on food by telling all the people that this is dry, and then all of your fake friends aren't going to be there.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah.
If you can't be sober for between 5 and 10, 5 and 8, maybe even on New Year's,
yeah.
just tell me you ain't gonna come.
No, that's
But,
true. Like they definitely
mean-
could have saved themselves a lot of heartache if they were just honest about it.
And
Yeah.
money. And
Uh-huh.
money.
And I think that these friends could have like had more time to also strategize what their plan was if they knew ahead of time. Okay, before we RSVP, like let's get together, let's try to figure out what we actually want to do here. Do we want to go for a little bit and leave? Like I don't even know if they thought about that option because they were just so mad about there not being alcohol. They're like, I ain't going.
They got bamboozled.
Nobody likes to feel trapped and bamboozled, like you said.
I can see a lot of people like in the comments come like, "Oh, you need alcohol at a wedding." Like, you
You
don't, but it's expected. You know, it's the world that we live in.
It's expected, and if
it's
you
what
don't
happens.
have it,
Yeah.
you should tell people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Period.
For the first time ever on Reddit, I've seen that it is poo mode activated, which means that most of the comments are really like vulgar
Yeah,
or like rude or like just not nice or not good to read or whatever. Like they don't pertain to things or they're just, I don't know. But so far there is no actual am I the asshole rating yet because it's only been 2 days. So
That must mean there's probably a lot of angry bridezillas taking out their wedding stressors on this guy. I think we all land on everybody as the asshole,
Yeah.
but I think really
Yeah.
for different reasons.
we had a religious wedding, but we drank.
I'm telling you, Chick Chatters, there was so many prayers said on this couple
So many.
for their wedding. So many
We
prayers.
did every single one. I swear.
Every single prayer that could be prayed over a newlywed couple was prayed over Ann and Dean. And then do you know what we did afterwards? We got wasted.
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 And it was funny because I think it was Jay that was like, after all that praying, I really didn't think your family was going to go hard like that. And I'm like, well, we do all the praying first to make up for what we do later.
We went hard that night. Great
We
wedding.
were in the streets until about 5 a.m. So
Steph was
yeah,
in the streets all night on that park bench.
People were eating pizza off the ground.
Mhm.
That's what kind of party it was.
sometimes it just brings on a whole new level of entertainment when you let the people drink. Even if you don't want to drink, it's still fun to watch the other people drink.
People watch. That's honestly more fun than getting drunk half the time.
Just people watch our wedding. It just would have kept you entertained for hours.
The city of Claire was entertained by your wedding, let me tell you.
The Amish were coming out of nowhere on their buggies or whatever the hell they are. We had a whole community turned upside down.
There was a spot that heard that we were in town, the wedding.
Yeah, Taylor said she went to go to like a dispensary or something, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're from that wedding."
We made our mark on that city for the weekend. There was no questions asked about that. The first night and the wedding night.
I just think everyone is the asshole here, and I think that we could have been a little bit more honest about our intentions when it comes to a wedding, and I also think that we could have just shown up for a couple hours and then ditched
And
the
better friends too. Yeah.
Chick chatters are going bye
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Chick Chatters. It's been real. Happy
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Hopefully
Yeah.
your New Year's is wet and your pizzas have toppings, and we will see you in 2023. Chick Chatter.
Cheers.
24. Wow.
I'm very thankful to all you Chick Chatters, especially since we started our channel in 2023. So thank you all for joining us for not only the special, but for all of our videos. Thank you for subscribing if you've subscribed. And if you haven't, what you doing?
What are you doing?
Subscribe, hit the button.
Join us for 2024. We're taking over YouTube.
All right, well, we'll catch you next time, Chick Chatters. See you next year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.